11 pin. Ray, nickname, of course, Deadeye. And he said the key to the match tonight was repeating good shots because he's thrown so many bad ones this week.
Well, you know, he thrives on tough conditions. He's just mentally so tough, and he credits himself for hitting what he's looking at.
And he gets his first.
You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. He leaves a weak 10 on that lane, makes a slight adjustment to carry after leaving 3 ring and 10s, gets a great break trip in the 4-pin out.
And now we got the smile. Walter Ray's brother John in the audience. Walter out of Ocala, Florida. Said he was thinking about just throwing it hard at the 7-8. Said, but he still didn't feel comfortable about doing that. That time the 10 cooperates.
Just like I said before, this guy creates his own luck. He's unbelievable, and that's why nobody wants to bowl him on the telecast.
Not quite. I got it.
This ball's going right through the face. Right through the nose. Should have left the big 4. Something comes across. 6 goes into the 10. What an awesome break.
Man.
Now he only trails by 1 pin.
And you put your hands in your pocket and you walk away.
He's like, oh, I knew.
Yeah, no problem.
Anybody can strike it in the pocket.
Well, John May with a 1-pin lead.
Leaves the bucket, and the only good news about this is that he's working on a strike, so he doesn't lose any count. However, the bucket's not the easiest spare to be shooting at.
The man who grew up idolizing players like Guppy Troop said traveling with him his early years on the tour was one experience he'll never forget.
Anytime you travel with Guppy, it's an experience.
That's the way to pick up the spare.
And by John's reaction, you can tell he's quite relieved making the bucket. The way he makes it, now a lot of guys throw the ball straight at this spare, but he throws a hook ball to get that back pin out the 8-pin. He's like, okay.
Well, how important is it from a strategy standpoint? You have the #1 player in the world in Walter Ray Williams. He comes up with 2 strikes. Now you've got to get back into it. How important was it for him to pick up that spare?
Well, one thing I've learned bowling against Walter Ray over the years is you don't want to give Walter Ray an opening. You open the door, Walter Ray will walk through it. By making the spare, he still maintains a 1-pin lead. There you go. Shot on the right lane, looked a little lazy. That time he made sure he got his fingers involved in the grips, and he just ripped the grips right out of it. Watch the rotation on this shot, and that's rotations what gets that pin action. Look at the action of the head pin going to the sidewall, and he likes it.
John Mayo victory will obviously move him up in the rankings. He's currently 44th. Oh, the pesky 10-pin for the 4th time in this match.
Seems like the only time Walter Ray strikes is when he doesn't hit the pocket. Some of his best shots in this match have been ringing 10s. Possible 247. John May right now, maximum 259. And this spare, no problem for Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
Well, he has 4 spares and a couple of strikes so far. And John May now up by 1. Walter Ray bowling in the 7th frame. Check that he's now down by 2, Walter Ray Williams Jr. is. He said the premium in this match, shot making, and he needs one right now. Well, he got a little distraction. He's going to step back.
What he needs is he needs to carry when he hits the pocket. 2 strikes that were kind of marginal and 4 really good shots that were all 10 pins. There you go. All right, Walter. Maybe you shouldn't go dead flush and you'll strike.
Well, he's come from the #5 seed to win a PBA event, but young John May now with the lead. We'll be back.
Defined abs. Everybody wants them, but few ever.
Pins to John May. Walter Ray has won 5 Player of the Year awards, but he says he would like more.
I'd like to be Player of the Year again. I've got to, keep on top of my game. I'm getting a little older, obviously, 41 now. But I think as long as I'm physically fit, which I basically am, I could probably take care of my body a little better, work out a little more. But as long as I don't have any major injuries, which in the last year and a half hasn't been a problem, I think I still can be. But watching some of these kids, the way they throw the ball, it can be a little intimidating at times. But I do realize that if I play my game, I'm very capable of throwing a lot of strikes against them.
And he obviously has in his career. He has won at least one title the last 8 years. And if he comes from the number 5 seed and wins tonight, he will tie Mark Roth for second all-time in titles.
Just a credit to his talent.
John May now in the 7th, up by 2.
Strike here, take a 12-pin lead. Well, it comes in light, leaving the 2-pin, and it's 2 shots in a row on the right lane. Ball hangs a little bit. Watch this ball drifting right, and just doesn't have the bite on it to get up heavy enough on the head pin. Very fortunate he doesn't leave the 8-pin and the 10-pin, leaving the 2-8-10. Would have been disaster at this point. Leaves it very easy spare, just the 2.
Now, there's so much riding on this for young John May, because if he does get the victory, Randy, he gets into the Tournament of Champions. So there is some pressure on him. But talking to him today, he's such a low-key guy. He does all the basic things. He loves to play golf on PlayStation. He's single. He water skis. And it didn't seem like the pressure was getting to him.
Yeah, and this guy can really bowl. He doesn't look like a whole lot, but, 18 regional titles, this guy is a player. Oh.
That time he leaves the 7.
Bad break. Ball comes in light. Takes care of the 5-pin. Leaves what we call a shaker 7. Spare here to maintain a 2-pin lead. I'm sorry, 1-pin lead. Changes balls to a ball that goes much straighter. No problem on that spare. Now Walter Ray, the right lane. A strike here. He'll take a 9-pin lead. Needs a hold. Oh.
And it didn't. He had an opportunity to walk through the door, couldn't get in again.
Well, and he leaves a really tough spare, the 3-9-10. And the problem with this is covering the back pin, the 9-pin, especially when the lane conditions are the way they are. In order to make this, you need to get the ball to the right of the 3-pin, but you got to have hook in the back end to get the ball to cover the 9.
Won his first title back in 1986 at the Peoria Landmark Lanes. Spare maker, what he needs to do.
And that's the trouble, you catch the 3-pin too heavy, and it doesn't deflect off of the 3 and take out the 10. Very tough spare.
That was one player told us yesterday, round objects meeting round objects, you don't get the same bounce a lot of times.
Yeah. Now Walter Ray, 9th frame, must strike. That looks like the same exact hit that early on in the match he was leaving 10 pins. Lanes break down during the course of the match. All of a sudden now he carries a corner pin.
Thanks, guys.
John May, right lane, 9th frame, strike here, maintains a 13-pin lead.
He needed that.
I told you this guy can bowl. He came in light the last 2 shots on that right lane, and he made sure he got all of that shot.
And the lead is at 13. 10th and final frame for John May. One of his bowling goals was to make the TV finals. This is his second. Trying to pick up the first win.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
The determined young man from North Carolina. I think he's feeling it right about now.
8 spare, he's a winner. Be his first win on TV against the great Walter Ray Williams Jr.
What a way to start out with your first win, huh?
Well, it's definitely not a given yet. Tough lane conditions, anything can happen. 8 spare or 9 on the first ball, he's a winner. Needs the hook. Ooh.
Well, he got the 9. And he will advance to round number 2. So John May of North Carolina advances to round number 2. He will now take on the number 3 seed, Michael Haugen.